Okay, so just going to take attendance really quickly for the Economic Development Committee meeting. I see Council Member Jason Moskowitz, Matt Yetto, Kevin Walsh, Elena Finnan, Chairman Delarada, Beth Greenwood. Is that you, Seth?
It is.
Seth. Dennis Brennan, and then we've got Clark Henry and Jean and me from Planning Department. We'll see if others join.
Excellent. It is March 4th at 8:30 a.m. and we will begin the EDHEC committee meeting. And do we have any public concerns or comments?
I did not receive any.
Very good. And I did see the minutes from February 4th, 2022. Are there any suggested amendments or deletions to those minutes? I will make a motion to approve.
I will second.
Are there any opposed? That motion will carry unanimously, and that moves us on to resolutions, Ms. Robertson.
Yeah, so I could only identify two. I know we paused on the adoption of the hazard mitigation plan. Sorry. I think partly because Elena, you had a question on the resolution is a forum resolution that we received to adopt, but there was a question of whether or not it was publicly noticed. And I researched that, and it is.
Okay.
So it was noticed both through Schenectady County and on our website. So if we want, like, we could put those dates in, or if that's enough, we can.
I think we should add the dates. And I was also having difficulty finding the plan. Like, there was a website with information, but an actual document itself, I didn't seem to be in existence online anyways.
Yeah, I don't know if they have a paper document. I can ask them that. I think the website like is the document, but
if that's the case, then we should put the link to the website as like in the further clause.
Okay.
Where it can be found, because typically we would attach it as an attachment to the resolution. But if we don't have something to attach, then we should put the link where it can be found.
Okay, so we'll find out if there's a paper copy and put the dates of like, so we did an email blast asking the public for comments is what I could find. And then I think Schenectady County did their own outreach as well.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay, so we'll just add the information to that one, and then that will be good for March, I think. And then I think we said we would hold the public hearing on the historic code, but then wait to adopt it just so that we can process any public comments that we get.
Yeah, to make sure planning board and CAC and everybody's okay with the
get a chance. Yeah, so we so then that would just be holding the public hearing, and then at the April meeting at Economic Development, we'll probably discuss comments and propose a tentative resolution there.
Yes.
All right, very good. And that brings us to the discussion portion.
So just quickly, like, I know the supervisor had asked me about this again, the EV charging station updates. I think we're waiting on National Grid to easements for River Road Park and Lions Park. And I've got to just run a couple things by baseball for Blatnick Park, but I wouldn't expect that they would be held up anything past this spring. So I'm still expecting those things to go in relatively quickly. I wanted to update you guys that we did do an email blast and we reached out to all our contractors, and we have officially implemented the New York State stretch code. So we're 4 days into it. It's been okay so far. I know there's some confusion, I think, with contractors, but we're trying to work them through it. And it's kind of nice because it's good for our town. It gets people going on this code. It is going to be adopted by the state in about a year. So, maybe people can learn and figure it out with us and then get better and better at it before the state fully adopts it. So, so we're moving forward on that. We scheduled a meeting for a comprehensive plan next week. That meeting is with Dart Strayer and David D'Arpino and Clark and myself, to kind of game plan how we're going to attack the chunks and things that we wanted to add to the comprehensive plan. I've been collecting a list of people who are interested. Dennis, I know you said you were. I'm very excited about that. And what I think we'll do is kind of chunk out, what we need to do, put a list of names together, and then get that all to the town board, if not in April. Well, I think we'll shoot for April. We'll try.
Excellent.
And then I'm just keeping this one on. I know Elena talked about it at the highway meeting, but it's a slow process because it's brand new code. But we're still going to be working on the dumpster code along with the dumping code.
Has the dumpster issue been worked out? Was it at Iroquois that we were having a big problem?
No, I think it's, the one we hear the most is Van Antwerp Village. And to my knowledge, I mean, it comes and goes a bit. But some of the things that I had said to people is, take pictures of the violation, because a lot of times this does happen. Like the violation occurs off hours on the weekends or something like that. When we get the call, we go and the garbage has been collected. So when we get there, there's no violation. I'm going to say like at least the last 4 or 5 times someone's called and complained about a particular property, we've gone and there has not been a violation to cite. It doesn't stop us from saying, hey, we're getting complaints, but it's obviously not as powerful as we have evidence that you were actually in violation. So those ones are tough because they can be time sensitive and they can happen outside of building inspector hours.
Sure. Thank you.
Yep. So planning board worked pretty thoroughly. This was mostly Clark and Kevin. Had a very detailed discussion and trying to figure out what to do with 3140 Troy Schenectady Road. That's the Mabel Chang doctor's office building. They have 2 floors and wanted to lease some additional space. So rather than having them go to the zoning board and getting a waiver on parking in perpetuity, we had them, or variance on parking in perpetuity, we had them work with the planning board for a waiver, which gives the town the power to review like the situation for the next 3 years. And if they do end up having a parking issue, we can require that they either create agreements for parking or actually build parking that they were able to show on site. So we're hoping that they can manage their building and not need to build the more parking, because obviously over parking a building is bad environmentally and socially and all kinds of things, but we don't want to create a parking problem. So I think we struck a good balance there. It was a lot of work for the planning board. It was a lot of math for Clark. So I wanted to say thank you. He worked really, really hard on that. And hopefully that works out. So that one did go through. And then the other one that you guys have seen on the paper was GE building a new building. Initial proposal went to the planning board last Monday. It's Monday. They do need a height variance, so they don't have a whole lot of drawings. A lot of times developers don't invest a whole lot until they know they can get their variance. So they were working with the planning board on, what do we call them, Kevin?
An image, basically an image of what the building would look like from River Road. In the past, we received one for the cell towers to go on, cell antenna to go on the water tower, and for the solar panels. So we'd like to see the same thing, just to make sure there's minimal impact on the neighbors there.
A model of what it would look like from the road, I guess. Yeah. So they're working on that, and then potentially going to the zoning board mid-March there. I think that's March 16th. And in the meantime, they'll be working on updated engineering drawings. We want to know, if they're building new parking, if they're utilizing existing parking. We're going to work through all those details with planning board on site plan. So if anybody has any questions on that one. Just nice to, I know Jamie said it, it's nice to see the investment by GE into town. So that was nice to see that they're able to build a new building and they continue, to want to be here. So
Is it, I'd imagine it's going to result in increased employment, but we don't really know that, do we?
We don't know, because it is some equipment that they have on site, right? They're building a new building and they're going to tear another building down. But hopefully, it's new investment and it would create some new jobs. That would be our hope.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks.
Zoning board has 5 cases for March. GE is one of those. The grants update. Beth, I was unable to go to the grants meeting yesterday. I was like sleeping on the couch. I'm very sorry about that. But if they, I don't know if you had any updates. I know we need to sign the grant paperwork for the climate smart communities. And then I've started pursuing the community forest conservation grant. We talked about having a meeting last night, scheduled it, held it. I was sick and unable to go. But I mean, if you want to talk about anything there, we can we can pick up on it later too. Either way, it's fine.
I can just give you a quick update. We had a really nice talk with Sue Lombardi. She's willing to have her contract extended through June just to wrap up the stuff she's working on, and then take a look at where we are with all the stuff we've got currently in the hopper at that point. We talked about just kind of some organizational processes so that we're all on the same sheet of music. And I think we've got a way ahead. We had already started in our office working on just like a master spreadsheet to track kind of where we are in terms of status with all the grants. And then what we want to add to that is kind of looking forward, not necessarily at individual grants, because right now the application times have dropped. A lot of them are down to 30 days or less. So what we want to do is start working with all the different departments to understand what future things people would like to do, and almost have the grant packages kind of sketched out ahead of time. So then if a grant comes down that looks like it will support what somebody already wants to do, we can put it together very efficiently and get those in. So that's something we're going to start working on. So we're going to have, me and my love of spreadsheets, we're going to have a master spreadsheet that has like things that we, grants that are basically wrapping up, and just kind of a list of what we need to do to finalize those out and get paid out, which we have several of those right now. Things that are currently active grants that we're working on, and then kind of like a future plans tab on that spreadsheet of here are the projects that we know that we would like to do as a town in the future. And then if we have a grant that shows up that might fit one of those things, we'll be able to put in for it efficiently. So it wasn't much on actual grants yesterday, but it was more on kind of a process of how we can organize ourselves to set us up to better get grants when they come down the road.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. I really appreciate that. I think that's needed. And I am really glad that you like spreadsheets and identified that and can do it. I think that will be very helpful to my department in particular, but any department that really is doing grants. I think that will be great. Yeah, I can just, when you're saying that, I know Dennis and I, we'll sketch it out, but we would love to add the Grange, so that any historical grant that comes along, we would be able to submit the Grange for help so that we could rehabilitate it. And
yeah, and I'm gonna go. I'll start making a list, and I'll just be going department to department. So I'll write that down here on my notes, and I'll start a spot for that. And I know there's a bunch of different stuff, and a lot of these grants you don't get a lot of warning when they're coming up, but they are kind of periodic, and some of them haven't gone out in a couple of years. So I kind of anticipate we'll start seeing that pick back up again. So.
Yeah, we heard that they froze a lot of the grants because of COVID, and they didn't know what the fiscal impacts were going to be. But yeah, that would be my expectation as well, that some of the regular ones would start to roll out again.
Yeah, so I'd like to have us kind of a little bit ahead of the bow wave on those so that we can jump right on.
That is great. I'm sorry I missed that meeting, but it sounds like you guys had it under control.
Great idea. Thank you, Beth.
The Complete Streets, just still working on their regular things. I know I reached out to you, Beth, on Plum Street because we were wondering where that was. It sounds like it's in the bonds. So we got to wait until summer, really, until that money gets released, but we can get working on it very soon. So that's very exciting. We were working on the goals and the priorities for 2022 and had a meeting with the schools. I thought that went very well. I met with the superintendent, the interim one. She's going to put me in contact with the new one that was appointed, and we'll be working together to coordinate Complete Streets traffic mitigation. And Matt, I was listening. I did mention stormwater to him too. So I'm going to try and get some details from them on, what, if there's an increase in impervious and where they would be connecting into our stormwater systems. So I'll be able to take a look at that. Tree Council was just still working in with Highway for coordination of spring plantings, and working through a potential Girl Scout collaboration with the Girl Scouts on this program called the Tree Promise. Still a lot of work to do on that though.
Laura, sorry to interrupt, or John, maybe this falls under complete streets. I didn't see the sidewalk on Council Road on the agenda. Is that still?
I'm
in the
glad,
hopper?
I'm glad you mentioned that, Kev. I was thinking about that, and I know, Laura, you've kind of had that on the back burner. If I need to do something with the landowner, I can, but I wouldn't want that to fall off the wayside. Didn't we have grant money for that, or we kind of had something
I thought it was
earmarked to
escrow
make-
money from the development of Hummingbird Manor.
Yeah.
Yes.
And full disclosure, I'm on the board at Ingersoll Place, and obviously that impacts there. So I'm not, trying to get in the middle of involved. But I know there's not a lot of money, but if we could at least get a survey and spend the money that we have and shelve it, it would be moving it forward, is my opinion, humble opinion. Okay.
Is that doable, Laura?
I don't. So I get involved with the Council Road sidewalk in making, looking at land and whether or not we need easements and moving forward with the landowner. But I don't think that we have enough to actually build the sidewalk, right? Matt, I think you and I have talked about this. I think we have enough maybe to design the sidewalk and take an easement if we need it. But we would still have to budget for the sidewalk or look for a grant for the sidewalk, I think.
Yeah, I
It's
think
not a lot. There's not a lot in that escrow.
It'd be great to at least utilize the money and get it as far as long as it can and shelve it versus letting the money go away,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And then if the time comes where maybe we can get a grant or some other type of subsidy for it, at least we'll kind of be more, we'll be in better shape to grab it. Because that would be a nice connection there.
Yeah. Yes, it would. Okay. We used to do these meetings where we would go through the escrow, sorry, and figure out where it was. That might just be a meeting that we should rekindle, and maybe me, Matt, and Beth could take a look at what the money was in there, what we needed to do to hire an engineering company, and have them take a look at it. I mean, it's just my memory at this point, but I think that's probably the next reasonable step on that. And just double check with Elena that that's okay to do with that money.
What is there, like $5,000 or $6,000 we think in escrow for that?
I don't have the sheet home with me today, but I think that's about right.
Yeah, roughly, yeah. And
It's
we're
not
probably
going to build a
need
sidewalk.
Right, probably gonna need another zero on that for the
You'd
sidewalk.
need another zero. Yes.
I thought so. All right, very well, but we will kind of we'll keep the ball rolling. So if that zero rolls our way, we can grab it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. Thanks, guys. I didn't put it on here, but I'm just thinking. So I believe that Arbor Day is going to be April 23rd. Is that before or after the town board meeting? Does anybody know that? Let me see. We could look. It may be worth it to put the Arbor Day proclamation. It's kind of up to you guys.
It's before the meeting's the 26th.
Okay. Is either we could do an Arbor Day proclamation at the end of March, knowing that the Arbor Day was coming before the next town board meeting, or we would do our Arbor Day proclamation after we hold our Arbor Day, but we could have it written and ready to go. I don't know if you guys would like to see that at the end of March prior to Arbor Day or in the same month as Arbor Day. That's kind of up to you. We could add it.
I'm fine with it either way. Is one way easier than the other?
I love that people sometimes pay attention to our resolutions, but I don't think that generally speaking, our resolutions put people on notice to when Arbor Day is. I think that's typically like an email blast or some other things. So I feel like it's okay to have it in the month of Arbor Day, as long as you don't mind that it's sort of retroactive to the day that we hold the celebration.
No, that's fine. And then we can give a little recap of Arbor Day.
What happened? Okay,
Sure,
so I'll make
sure.
sure that goes on the April
Sure.
agenda. So the tree council actually has been meeting regularly on trying to get Arbor Day ready to roll. And we'll probably have a tree order going in here in the next week or two.
Excellent.
And CAC had a good meeting on Wednesday. Dart is on vacation and unable to attend the EDHP meeting this morning, but he had looked at the historic code because they had been working on that pretty hard with the demolition language. We finalized some signs that we are working on ordering with Ray. Again, Ashok's been working really hard on the NRI. I guess they scheduled a site walk with our consultant, I believe he said in May. So we'll have some boots on the ground as soon as the snow melts. And then they're working on pesticide-free outreach. Mainly, they're working on information that they can get to people as lawn care starts to ramp up. Different services people can use, different types of alternatives to chemicals that they'll like to put on our website and do an email blast potentially with. So they've been working really hard on those things. Anybody got any questions on any of those?
The supervisor's office is working on a quarterly newsletter, and it sounds as though your committees would have a lot of newsworthy information to be included. So if you would please summarize all of those main points so that they can be added to the newsletter, that would be very good.
Okay.
And they
You
should be
could- you
sent
could-
to Susan.
You could give her kind of the recap that you give me, Laura?
Yeah, like the date for Arbor Day and like, you know, the pesticide-free lawn signs, where to buy them, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. More, you can give us more, and then we can prioritize content or, you know, revise as needed.
Okay. That is great.
Would the newsletter include like new businesses open, like the Broken Inn? That would probably be a good thing. If there's any ribbon cutting or announcement of new businesses to the community.
Absolutely, 100%. That would be great information to include.
When does that go out, Jamie?
I'll need to confirm with Susan. I can have her reach out to you
Okay.
before Q2. That's the goal.
Yeah, that would be cool. Okay. So I'll put together some points that sorry.
I believe March 27th potentially, but
Ish.
don't just
It's a soft
don't
date.
count me on that for sure. Let's connect with Susan by email.
Okay. That sounds great. I love those type of things. My mom used to write the newsletter she used to work for the Empire State Aerosciences Museum. I love newsletters. So, okay. Yeah, so we sort of talked about the Climate Smart Task Force a little bit. They've got, we're going to move forward on the grant. At the last meeting, I had put out that we wanted to do a survey to see what the interest was in people buying rain barrels and compost bins for their homes. I think have a copy of that survey that I got to send to you guys to see if you're okay with it, and then we could release that to the public. And then I'm a little behind on this, but I really want to get onto it, the Solarize Albany campaign. I think it's really helpful because it has good incentives for people to sign up. This is a campaign where, like, if you buy a solar panel that's on a farm somewhere, if you can't put it on your house like me, because I have too many trees, and I'm never going to take down a tree to put up a solar panel ever in my whole life, never. So like, if you're going to do that, then you can buy the solar panels where they put them up on a farm somewhere, hopefully where they didn't take trees down. And then you own or you lease that solar panel for yourself. But there's a lot of like incentives. Like I believe this one has, you get like an Amazon gift card or whatever. Then you're supporting green infrastructure locally, and you get a discount on your energy bills. So it's like a lot of winning. So I just have to get the information packaged and together so that we can get it out to our community, because I really think it's a win-win.
That sounds like something good for the newsletter.
Yeah. If I can get it together that quickly, I will try. Maybe that's a really good incentive for me to do that. Because then we could say, hey, here's our Solarize Niskayuna campaign. Sign up, you get that. Yes. Idea, John. So I didn't know, Clark, if you wanted to add anything from the Architectural Review Board.
There's not much new. Our most recent meeting was February 9th. Our next meeting is March 18th. We're working on 5 projects with applicants that are kind of in process of being completed. The action items are on the applicant's end, so we're just kind of pinging them and staying in contact with them. And we worked on 2 new projects at the 2-9 meeting. One of them was 857 Northumberland, which is the large pool accessory structure. So the ARB was suggesting some comments to kind of minimize the impact of that. It's code compliant, but it's a large structure. So Laura wanted them to look at trying to minimize its appearance in the neighborhood. And that's it for the.
Clark, do you think your board is having an impact?
I think they are. Yeah, I think there's a couple projects that are not in limbo, but they're just kind of waiting to be finished out. But I think they've made a good impact on several projects.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely think their comments have been very helpful. Like,
She cut herself off, but people are taking your advice and following it, it sounds like, because it's not mandatory, right? They don't have to.
Correct. It's not mandatory.
yeah, and I'm sorry, I kicked myself off. I think I hit this anyway. I think they're making a big difference. I think already, like with the 3-story building on Eastern, that's a pretty big building that got referred to them. It went back and forth multiple times. They're making a difference on that one. You know, it does take a while because you go back and forth with the applicants a little bit, but I think they even made State Street better. So
Excellent.
building departments, just busy as usual. Like I said, adopting that code took a little bit. I think our main achievement was we got very behind in sending letters out to people to renew their permits just because everything that was going on with our department. But I believe as of a couple days ago, we had at least notified everybody that they needed to renew their permits all the way up till March 1st. So that was congratulations to Linda. That was a big lift with a lot of stuff that she had been doing for quite a while. So I think we're starting to catch up a little bit. There's still a lot of catch up to do though, because we were so busy last year. Planning department, I didn't identify anything specifically unless you guys had any questions specific to planning. And then Elena, did you have anything that you wanted to add from legal?
I do not.
And then Dennis, did you have anything for historical?
I'll just mention one thing. I'd be interested. The latest Gleanings article in the Gazette, which comes out today and again on Monday, is about proposal for a land acknowledgement statement. I'd just be interested in anybody's reaction to that idea. Other than
Elena,
that,
are
nothing new.
you? Thank you, Dennis. Elena, are you still able to do everything in-house as far as the legal's going?
As of right now, yes.
Excellent. Wonderful. All right.
I
Is
would say this
there
on the
anything-
record all the time though. It's so much. Like I definitely think any help that we can give Elena is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Is there anything else for the good of the order?
Well, I wanted to hear a little bit more about what Dennis was sharing. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, Dennis, please?
Yeah, sure. A land acknowledgement statement is basically just a statement recognizing that the land that we are on, the land that is Niskayuna, was once the land of the Mohawk Nation. Acknowledges their care for the land, their shepherding of the land, and our commitment to continue that kind of concern and proper maintenance and proper care for the land that we're on. It would be best if it's something that is worked out in concert with the Mohawk Nation, that it wouldn't be a dual statement. It would be our statement, but it would include a participation at some level and recognition at some level of our shared interest in protecting and moving forward with the land. At any rate, read
And
the article.
what are the next steps involved with that, Dennis?
Well, I'm hoping the article would raise some give attention to the issue and get some comments from both the residents in the town and officials in the town. The next step moving forward, I think, would be if we wanted to move forward with it, we would contact. I have actually already talked to the Mohawk people of the Mohawk Nation about the statement that I put in the article, which they thought was fine. But I'd like to pair it with some commitment to, it doesn't have to, I'm not talking about anything major, some commitment to continued cooperation between the town of Niskiuna and the people of the Mohawk Nation, which is basically out in Fonda, or out near Fonda right now.
So it really, it's an awareness for more extended environmental conservationists in conjunction with the tribe, sounds like, yes?
Yeah, that would certainly be part of it, but it's
nothing, nothing specific as far as a specific piece of land or anything like that, right?
No. This isn't about giving the land back or
Right.
anything like that. It's just merely I think it's important to recognize that we share the concern for the land moving forward, and that's something we do. It's best done together. Words are meaningless unless there's action that follows it. In my respect, as far as something this is concerned, we could.
Dennis, I applaud your efforts, and I wholeheartedly support that. I would really like you to continue to pursue those efforts. There are other municipalities, I believe, even in Massachusetts, that have those types of statements. They're often read, I feel, at meetings.
Yeah, they're read at the beginning of a meeting. It's very common in Canada, and it's becoming more common in the United States. We spend a lot of the summer up in Canada, and the theater up there, before every performance, it's read.
I have a colleague in Michigan who has one that she reads regularly as well.
Union College recently adopted a land acknowledgement statement, and it's becoming more common in the United States. But it's not about assuaging guilt for what happened in the past. It's just about recognizing our shared interest.
Great idea.
But like I said, I appreciate whatever comments you might have after taking a look at the article.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I like that a lot, and I just wanted to say, because it reminded me, we have an organization in upstate New York called Relief, RELEAF, like bringing leaves back. And the last conference they did was called Tribal Values for the Natural World, and there was a guy who I believe was from like the tribe you mentioned in Fonda, Dennis, and he was talking about the different names they have and the different values and things that they share with our trees. And it was great. I have the video if anybody's interested in listening to him. It was really, really good. They sent me the video, which I liked, wanted to share with people. But it does seem like a very timely and good connection. And I just think it's really interesting that was the Relief seminar just a week or two ago was that same issue.
Well, I think Councilmember Delarada was bringing up a potential overlap and an opportunity to dovetail a historical recognition in terms of a statement, and also collaborations on environmental issues. So
definitely go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that is good stuff. Is there anything further for the good of this order? I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Any opposed?
Nope.
We are adjourned. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Laura. Clark.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Cheers.